I never thought a Tuesday would destroy my life. The fluorescent lights in our office building hummed their usual monotone symphony as I pushed through another soul-crushing day at Henderson's and Associates. My name is Ryan Matthews, and I'm a senior account manager, which is just a fancy way of saying I spend 60 hours a week putting out files started by people who make twice my salary. By noon, I was done. My boss had just chewed me out for a client complaint that wasn't even my fault. My inbox had exploded with 47 new urgent emails, and I'd spilled coffee on one decent shirt I owned. I needed a break. More specifically, I needed 5 minutes when nobody could find me. The third floor bathroom became my sanctuary. I slipped inside, grateful to find it empty. The last stall, my usual spot, offered the most privacy. I locked the door, sat down fully clothed, and pulled out my phone. Just 5 minutes of mindless scrolling. 5 minutes of peace before diving back into the chaos. I was 3 swipes into Instagram when the bathroom door banged open. I'm telling you, man, it's insane, a voice echoed off the tile walls, male, loud, excited. I recognized it immediately. Brad Taunton from sales. We'd started the same week 3 years ago, grabbed beers a few times, played on the company softball team together. Not quite friends, but friendly enough. The kind of coworker you'd help move furniture or cover for when they needed to leave early. You're full of shit, another voice laughed. Kevin Ramirez, Brad's desk neighbor. I swear on my life, Brad said. Water ran in the sink. Best thing that's ever happened to me. I stayed quiet, phone dimming in my hand. They didn't know I was there. I felt awkward announcing myself now, like I'd be admitting to eavesdropping. Better to wait it out, let them finish whatever conversation they were having and slip out unnoticed. So what's her deal? Kevin said. She's single? Brad's laugh had an edge to it, something sharp and arrogant that I'd never heard from him before. Married, actually. My thumb hovered over my screen. Dude, seriously. Kevin sounded impressed rather than concerned. That's not sketchy to you? Why would it be? She's the one who made the first move. The paper towel dispenser cranked. We were at the marketing conference in Denver back in October. Hotel bar. Late night, she sits down next to me. We started talking, and I can tell she's interested. Wedding ring on her finger, but the way she was looking at me, something cold settled in my stomach, a feeling I couldn't quite name yet. She's a therapist, Brad continued, works at some counseling center downtown, smart as hell, gorgeous and completely wasted on her husband. My wife Jenna is a therapist. She works at Riverside Counseling Center downtown. She went to a conference in Denver in October. The cold feeling spread. What she looks like? Kevin asked. Blonde but natural. Not that cheap bottle stuff. Green eyes. This little dimple on her left cheek when she smiles. And man, her body. Brad's voice dropped lower, more intimate. She does yoga 4 times a week, you can tell. Everything's tight, toned. She's got this way of moving that's just... Jenna has green eyes, a dimple on her left cheek, the one that appears when she smiles. Not the polite smile she gives strangers. She does yoga every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday morning at the Core Power on the 5th Street. My hands started shaking. The first night in Denver, we just talked for hours, Brad said. But I could feel the tension building. She told me about her life, her work, how she feels invisible at home. When the bar closed, I walked her to her room. She invited me in for one last drink. He laughed. We didn't drink anything. I remembered that conference. Jenna had been excited about it. A 3-day seminar on trauma-focused therapy. She'd called me the first night, told me about the keynote speaker, asked about my day. Her voice had sounded normal, even happy. She told me her marriage was dead, Brad continued. Said her husband works constantly, barely notices her anymore. Apparently, he's some boring corporate guy who thinks taking her to Olive Garden once a month counts as romance. Last month, I'd taken Jenna to Olive Garden for our anniversary. 7 years together, 4 years married. I'd made reservations, ordered her favorite wine, given her bracelet that I'd spent 2 weeks searching for online. She'd smiled, thanked me, worn the bracelet exactly once. I'd been proud of myself for remembering our anniversary. Where do you guys meet up? Kevin asked, his voice carrying genuine curiosity now. Her place, usually. Husband works late most Wednesdays. Some standing meetings that runs until 8. She texts me around noon, sends me this little flower emoji. That's our signal. Every Wednesday, I have a department sing that drags until 8 o'clock. It's been on my calendar for 6 months, ever since the Peterson's account blew up and required weekly check-ins. Every Wednesday for the past 4 months, I've sat in that conference room watching PowerPoint slides and pretending to care about pipeline projections. Every Wednesday. Last week was wild, Brad continued, his voice taking on a bragging quality that made my skin crawl. I got to her place around 2. She answered the door in this black lingerie thing, like barely there, lace, see-through. We didn't even make it to the bedroom the first time, right there against the living room wall. I pictured our living room, the wall next to the bookshelf, the one with our wedding photos on it. Pictures of us smiling, young, in love. Jenna in her white dress, me in my rented tux, both of us believing we'd found forever. And she's into stuff her husband apparently won't do. Brad went on. I could hear the smirk in his voice. She likes it rough, told me last Wednesday, to leave marks where her husband wouldn't see them. The thrill of hiding it gets her going. She sent me a picture later that night. These little bruises on her inner thighs. Said it made her think of me every time she moved. Last Thursday morning, I'd noticed a bruise on Jenna's hip when she got out of the shower. Purple blue, the size of a thumbprint. I'd asked her if she was okay, if she'd hurt herself. She laughed it off, said she'd bumped into the kitchen counter while cooking dinner the night before. I'd believed her, why wouldn't I? What about the husband? Kevin asked. You worried he'll find out? Brad laughed, actually laughed. The sound echoed off the tile, bouncing around the small bathroom like a taunt. Guy's clueless. She calls him Ray Ray, sometimes when she talks about him, like he's fucking puppy or something. Says he's so buried in his work he wouldn't notice if she walked around the house naked. Ray Ray, a nickname she'd given me in college, back when we were 22 and everything felt possible. I'd always found it embarrassing, a little too cutesy, but she said it with such an affection that I'd learned to tolerate it. She only used it when we were alone, usually when she was being playful or wanted something or was trying to soften me up after an argument. Used to use it. Does she talk about him a lot? Kevin asked. Sometimes, usually right after we finish. When we're laying there, she'll get this guilt look for a second. Then she'll say something like, Ray Ray would never understand me like this. Or I wish my husband made me feel alive. Brad's voice carried a note of satisfaction. Makes me feel like I'm giving her something he can't. The stall suddenly felt too small. The walls pressed in. I couldn't get enough air. This Wednesday I'm thinking about trying something new, Brad said. She mentioned she's always wanted to do it in his bed. Says there's something about the forbidden aspect that drives her crazy. I'm not sure, seems risky, but man, the way she described it. Our bed, the one we'd picked out together at IKEA 3 years ago. The one where I'd proposed to her, hiding the ring under her pillow and waiting for her to find it. The one where we'd held each other through her father's death, through my job loss 2 years ago, through every hard moment in life. You're living the dream, man, Kevin said. Their voices moved towards the door. Just don't get caught. Won't happen, like I said, husband's completely oblivious. Last week he texted her while I was there, asked if she wanted him to pick up dinner on the way home. She texted back with a little heart emoji while I was literally inside her. Told me later she'd never felt more alive. The door opened. Their laughter echoed down the hallway, fading as they walked away. Then silence. I sat there, phone dead in my hands, staring at the grey metal door of the bathroom stall. Someone had scratched Melissa plus Jake into the paint. A heart around the names. I wondered if Melissa and Jake were still together. I wondered if Jake knew that forever was just a lie people told themselves to feel safe. 4 years of marriage together for 7 total. We'd met at a coffee shop near campus. I'd accidentally taken her latte. She'd laughed instead of getting angry, and somehow that had turned into dinner, then breakfast, then moving in together, then a life. We'd bought our first house together last year, a little 3 bedroom in a quiet neighborhood with good schools because we'd talk about having kids next year. She'd cried on my shoulder last month when her grandmother died. I'd held her all night, stroked her hair, whispered that everything would be okay. She told me I was her rock, her safe place. And on Wednesdays, while I sat through mind-numbing meetings about the market share and client retention, she texted a flower emoji to Brad Thornton. I thought about all the Wednesdays, all the times I'd come home at 8:30 exhausted to find her on the couch in her yoga pants and my old college sweatshirt. She'd ask me about my day, listen to me complain about work, heat up leftovers for dinner. We'd watch TV together, her head on my shoulder, and I'd think about how lucky I was to have someone who understood that sometimes life was just tired and boring, and that was okay. She'd shower before bed on Wednesday nights, always. I thought she was just washing off the day, stay fresh. Now I understood. She was washing off him. My phone buzzed. I looked down at the screen. A text from Jenna. Working late tonight. Don't wait up for dinner. Love you. Love you. 2 words I said 1,000 times. 2 words that had meant everything. 2 words that now felt like broken glass in my throat. I stood up. My legs felt disconnected from my body, like I was piloting a machine rather than living in my own skin. I unlocked the stall door, walked into the sink, turned on the water, and watched it run, clear and constant, and completely indifferent to the fact that my entire world had just collapsed. The bathroom door opened. Brad walked in, still chuckling to himself, probably replaying his conquest stories in his head. He was looking at his phone, thumbs moving across the screen, texting someone, maybe her, maybe making plans for tomorrow, then glanced up. Our eyes met in the mirror. I watched his face transform in real time, the casual smile freezing, then melting into something else. Recognition, confusion, the slow creeping realization that something was wrong. His eyes widened slightly. His thumbs stopped moving. He knew I heard everything. "Ryan," he said. His voice sounded different, now smaller, uncertain. "Hey man, I didn't." "Ray Ray," I interrupted quietly. "She calls me Ray Ray." The color drained from his face. His phone slipped slightly in his hand. "The boring corporate guy who takes his wife to Olive Garden," I continued, turning to face him directly. My voice stayed calm, too calm, like I was discussing the weather or quarterly reports. "The clueless husband who works late on Wednesday. That's me, Brad." He took a step back. "Listen, I can explain." "Explain what?" I asked. "Explain how you've been fucking my wife in my house, how you left marks on her body, how the two of you laugh about what an oblivious idiot I am." "It's not." He stopped. We both knew there was no ending to that sentence that made this better. "Wednesday meetings," I said. "Every week for 4 months. I complained about them to you. At the coffee machine, you sympathized, told me office politics were brutal, that you had a similar meeting that drove you crazy. You told me to hang in there." Brad's jaw clenched. Some of his composure returned, or maybe it was just arrogance reasserting itself. The same arrogance that let him brag about sleeping with another man's wife in public bathroom. "Look, I didn't force her into anything. She wanted this. If your marriage was solid, she wouldn't have." I moved before I could think, one step forward, closing the distance between us until I was close enough to see the fear flash across his face, close enough that he flinched. "You come near my wife again," I said softly, each word deliberate, "and I will destroy you. I will tell your boss, HR, every single person in this building what you've done. I will call your girlfriend, yes, I know about Ashley from marketing, and play her a recording of everything I just heard. I will make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man you are. You can't prove." "I don't need proof for gossip, Brad. Just ask anyone in sales how fast rumors spread." I smiled, and it felt like cracking glass. "And I'm betting Jenna kept evidence, texts, photos. She's thorough like that. Documents everything, always has been." We stood there, two men who'd grab beers and talked about basketball and help each other move furniture, now separated by an unbridgeable chasm of betrayal. "We need to talk," I said finally. "You, me, and HR today, 3 o'clock. Ryan, come on, man. Or we can skip HR and I can handle this my way." I held up my phone. Your choice. You've got until 3 to decide. I walked past him, shouldered open the bathroom door, and stepped back into fluorescent lit hallway where everything looked exactly the same as it had been 20 minutes ago. But nothing was the same. I walked to my desk like a ghost, sat down in my chair, and stared at my computer screen. The spreadsheet I'd been working on was still open, column after column of numbers that suddenly meant nothing. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Jenna. Miss you. Can't wait to see you tonight. Wednesday was tomorrow. I stared at the heart emoji and wondered if she sent similar messages to Brad, if she told him she'd miss him, if she counted down the hours until she could see him. Around me, the office hummed with normal life. Phones rang, keyboards clacked, someone's laugh at the joke in the break room. The world kept turning like nothing had changed, like my life hadn't just shattered into 1,000 irreplaceable pieces. I looked down at my left hand. My wedding ring caught the light. A simple gold band we'd pick out together. She'd insisted we engrave the inside, "Forever yours," in tiny script that only we could read. I didn't take it off, not yet, but I would. At 2:45, I stood up and walked to HR. At 3, Brad didn't show. At 3:15, I told them everything anyway. And at 6, when I finally got home, Jenna was in the kitchen making dinner. She smiled when I walked in. The real smile, the one with the dimple. She came over and kissed me, tasting like the wine she'd been cooking with. "How was your day, Ray Ray?" she asked. I looked at her, this woman I built a life with, who I trust with everything, and felt nothing but emptiness. "We need to talk," I said. The smile faded from her face, and somewhere in that moment, between her question and my answer, our marriage ended. Not with shouting or tears or dramatic confessions, but with 3 quiet words in our kitchen, while the pasta she'd been making boiled over on the stove.